We begin with the U.S. desperately trying to keep the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah from escalating into an all-out regional war. Hezbollah firing a barrage of rockets from Lebanon into Israel overnight, targeting the northern port city of Haifa. The attacks coming one day after Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon killed nearly 500 people, including dozens of women and children, and wounded 1,600 others, making it the deadliest day of Israeli strikes in Lebanon in nearly 2 decades. The moment of one of those airstrikes caught on camera as a journalist prepared to go live on the air. Oh my gosh. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu not ruling out a ground offensive into Lebanon.
I would like to clarify Israel's policy. We are not waiting for a threat. We are ahead of it. Everywhere, in every arena, anytime. We're eliminating seniors, eliminating commanders, eliminating rockets, and counting. Those who try to hurt us, we will hurt them gravely.
The president of Iran, which is Hezbollah's most influential backer, just sat down for an exclusive interview with CNN's Fareed Zakaria. He is suggesting Muslim nations may need to join forces against the Israelis.
Hezbollah by herself cannot stand against a country that is armed to the teeth and has access to weapon systems that are far superior to anything else. Now, if there is a need, Islamic countries must convene meeting in order to formulate a reaction to what is occurring. Hezbollah cannot stand alone against a country that is being defended and supported and supplied by Western countries, European countries, and the United States of America.
All right, let's bring in CNN Global Affairs analyst Kim Dozier with more on this. Kim, good morning to you. Help us understand at this hour what the scale of this escalation has been, as it's now morning. The sun has risen in that part of the world, and this is continuing again today, and what the risk is for further escalation.
Well, Israel has been preparing for this for several weeks and then signaled the weekend before those walkie-talkie and pager attacks that Israel has not claimed but have been blamed on Tel Aviv, that it was expanding its war goals to not just eliminating Hamas in Gaza, but also allowing some 62,000 Israelis who've been displaced from northern Israel to return to their homes. It's the school season right now, and people are still in shelters because of Hezbollah's constant barrages on this northern Israel. So those were the war aims. And what the Israeli military is saying it's doing right now is using airstrikes to take out rocket positions and missile supplies that would be aimed at the south. But in a press conference today, Israeli officials would not be drawn on whether this would also include some sort of land incursion or invasion. I think we're likely to see at least raids, because these rockets and missiles that they're talking about, Israeli officials have briefed for a long time, for a couple of years now, to reporters that they're dug into Lebanese villages and towns, into civilian areas. That's why I think you're also seeing such a civilian flight out of those areas right now.
Kim, what would accomplishing the mission look like for Israel on this front with Lebanon? I mean, is it taking control of a certain amount of territory that would be a buffer zone for northern Israel? Is it something else? They're clearly taking a not insignificant risk, opening up another front and risking escalation across the region.
Well, they certainly can't take all of the Hezbollah fighters off the board. There are an estimated 60,000, and Hezbollah claims it's up to 100,000, including reservists, of armed, trained troops that could attack Israel. But what it could do is degrade the large numbers, up to 150,000 rockets and missiles that Israel believes are emplaced in those various northern villages pointed south. Many of the sophisticated missiles, however, they're supplied by Iran. So Hezbollah has been hesitant to use them. Some of them, cruise missiles that can reportedly reach every major populated area in Israel, are supposed to be Iran's strategic defense in case Iran gets threatened or hit by Israel or the US or anyone else in future. So Hezbollah kind of has its hands tied. It's got all of this weaponry stored in southern Lebanon, some of it ready to go, and some of it deeply embedded underground. And that is a target for Israel. I think the fact that some of it is deeply embedded underground means we're going to see at least Israeli raids, if not a full ground incursion, to dismantle and displace a lot of it.
Kim, how soon would you anticipate any of this may happen?
We could see it in a matter of days. Normally, as we saw with the operation in Gaza, it was a number of airstrikes, softening up the territory, taking out a lot of the potential opposition before troops moved in on the ground. And then they started doing it sort of piecemeal, patchwork by patchwork. That is perhaps what we could be seeing unfolding in Lebanon.
All right, Kim Dozier getting us started this morning. Kim, thanks very much for your reporting. I really appreciate it.